Inside Mike Tyson's Cannabis Ranch, a wild glimpse into his new life. Mike Tyson's Cannabis Ranch isn't just a business, it's his wild second act. From knockouts to cannabis, Tyson's latest venture shows a man who's trading gloves for growth and chaos for calm. Once the most feared boxer alive, he's now cultivating peace, purpose, and profit on a 420-acre desert empire. So, what really happened when he turned barren land into a luxury cannabis resort? How does this reflect his past struggles and future ambitions? And what do his homes, cars, and lifestyle reveal about Tyson's life beyond the ring? Because inside Mike Tyson's Cannabis Ranch, the real fight isn't about winning titles, it's about finding balance. Before there was a cannabis empire, there was a kid from Brownsville, Brooklyn, fighting for survival. Born in 1966, Mike Tyson grew up in an environment defined by poverty, crime, and constant struggle. By the time he was 13, he'd been arrested over 30 times. But inside that chaos, a prodigy was formed. Under the guidance of legendary trainer Cus D'Amato, Tyson's raw aggression was molded into a weapon. His 1986 knockout of Trevor Berbick made him, at 20, the youngest heavyweight champion the sport had ever seen. The world watched a storm in human form, power, precision, and a presence that made grown men freeze before the first bell. But as quickly as the fame rose, so did the fall. Tyson's life off the mat spiraled into controversy, legal troubles, high-profile relationships, and a bankruptcy in 2003 that shocked the sports world. He went from earning over $300 million in his prime to claiming he was completely broke. That collapse, public, painful, and humiliating, became a turning point. The fighter who'd once crushed opponents in the ring now had to face himself outside of it. The drugs, the rage, the recklessness, it all had to go if he wanted to survive. This was where the seeds of something new began to grow. Tyson started exploring meditation, therapy, and new business ideas. He wasn't chasing belts anymore. He was chasing peace. And years later, that search for calm would lead to his most surprising reinvention yet, the Tyson Ranch, a symbol of redemption, freedom, and rebirth. Boxing gloves came off, the next fight wasn't for a title, it was for a new life. When most people pictured Mike Tyson after boxing, they imagined the chaos, not the calm. But what came next would surprise everyone. In 2016, Tyson launched Tyson Holistic Holding, marking the beginning of his transformation from fighter to founder. The man once feared for his fists is now building a brand around healing, relaxation, and a plant that had once helped save his sanity, cannabis. The centerpiece of that vision became the now iconic Tyson Ranch, a 418-acre property in Desert Hot Springs, California. The concept was wild even by Hollywood standards. A hybrid cannabis resort, luxury retreat, and wellness destination where guests could smoke, stay, and experience the world of Tyson's new empire firsthand. It wasn't just a grow operation, it was an ecosystem. Plans included a music festival ground, an amphitheater, luxury camping, and even a Tyson University to educate future cannabis entrepreneurs. And this wasn't just branding hype. Tyson genuinely believed in the product. After decades of fighting physical and emotional pain, cannabis became his therapy. He said in interviews that it helped him manage anger, anxiety, and addiction. For Tyson, this wasn't about getting high, it was about healing. By 2021, the venture had evolved again with Tyson 2.0, a premium cannabis brand expanding across North America. The new company, backed by strong partnerships and sleek marketing, offered everything from THC-infused edibles to pre-rolls and CBD products, now sold in multiple U.S. states and even Canada. Forbes and CEO Today both note that Tyson's entry into cannabis has generated millions in revenue and turned him into one of the most recognizable names in the legal weed industry. His business reinvention proved something powerful, that the same drive that made him the youngest heavyweight champion could be redirected into an empire built on peace instead of pain. The knockout didn't happen in the ring this time. It happened in the boardroom. It's impossible to talk about Mike Tyson's transformation without facing the storm that shaped him. For decades, he's been one of pop culture's most polarizing figures, a boxer who became a myth, then a cautionary tale. From his rise as the youngest heavyweight champion in history to the legal troubles and personal chaos that nearly destroyed him, Tyson's name has always carried weight, both in the ring and in the headlines. But when the gloves came off, something unexpected happened. He began rewriting his story. His entry into the cannabis industry wasn't just another celebrity endorsement, it was a statement. Tyson has been open about his decades-long battle with mental health, addiction, and trauma, telling GQ that cannabis helped him find peace after years of violence and inner conflict. What once fueled his rage now fuels his calm. Still, critics debate what this new empire really means. Is it a reinvention, the story of a man finding healing and purpose after fame's fallout? Or is it redemption marketing, a smart pivot that monetizes the idea of change? Tyson himself doesn't hide from the duality. In interviews, he's admitted he's not perfect, saying, "I've done bad things, but I've learned from them." That vulnerability, paired with his unfiltered honesty, makes his current chapter feel real, messy, human, and unapologetic. And that's why Tyson's weed empire is more than a celebrity gimmick. It's cultural lightning. His brand champions wellness, natural healing, and emotional honesty in an industry still fighting old stigmas. Tyson says his mission isn't just to make money, it's to normalize cannabis as a path to health and peace, especially for veterans and people dealing with trauma. What once defined him, aggression, chaos, controversy, has now become his contrast. Tyson's journey from ring to ranch isn't about escaping his past, it's about owning it. This isn't just a hit pursuit, it's cultural lightning, bottled by the most unlikely alchemist in sports history. When you dig into Mike Tyson's world beyond the ring, you'll find terrain that maps his transformation. His real estate tells a story, a former fighter carving out a new identity through space, design, and lifestyle. In addition to the ranch, another standout is his lakefront mansion in Delray Beach, Florida. In early 2025, Tyson and his wife Lakeia secured a 12,286 square foot home on nearly 2.7 acres. Amenities include an 80-foot pool, spa, bass pond, guest house, gym, and a 4-car garage. Earlier in his career, Tyson bought a home in Henderson, Nevada, which was 10,400 square feet inside the Seven Hills guard-gated community. These properties reveal more than wealth. They show his lifestyle pivot, where his earlier mansions, like the 51,000 square foot Connecticut estate with a nightclub and casino, reflected excess. His newer homes reflect purpose, wellness, privacy, brand alignment. What he chose to show and what he chose to keep private speaks volume. He didn't flaunt every detail of the ranch, yet he built grand features like music venues, wellness wings, and education space. He moved away from the headline-grabbing Champions Mansion trope and into the entrepreneur's sanctuary mode. This isn't just about mansions, it's about memoir in architecture. Every swimming pool, guest suite, and land parcel ties into his story of reinvention. And as we move into the vehicles and travel that complement these spaces, you'll see how the lifestyle really ties together. Back in the day, Tyson's garage was legendary. During his heavyweight prime, he was known for spending millions on luxury cars, often buying multiple versions of the same model just because he could. Reports describe how he owned everything from a Rolls-Royce Corniche and Silver Spur to a Ferrari F50, Lamborghini Diablo, and even a Jaguar XJ220, one of the fastest cars of its era. Each one screamed dominance, wealth, and a little bit of chaos. Exactly how Tyson lived at the time. But today that energy has shifted. Instead of chasing flash, Tyson's choices reflect his new face. He's been spotted behind the wheel of a Rolls-Royce Cullinan SUV and a Mercedes-Benz G-Class, both vehicles that balance power and privacy. They're built for someone who doesn't need to prove he's arrived, just someone who prefers to move quietly while still making an entrance. As for air travel, Tyson doesn't own a private jet, at least not officially, but that hasn't stopped him from flying like a mogul. Whether he's heading to appearances, interviews, or expanding his cannabis empire, Tyson frequently charters private planes. It's the kind of travel that reflects his life now. Fast, flexible, and far from the chaos of commercial airport. What's changed most is the meaning behind the luxury. For Tyson, it's not about status anymore. It's about stability. His cars, his flights, his homes, they all serve a purpose. They let him run his cannabis business, promote Tyson 2.0, and live comfortably away from constant scrutiny. He's still Iron Mike. This time, his empire runs on engines of efficiency, not excess. Because when the engines stop and the wheels cool, what's left isn't noise. It's a man who's finally learned how to drive his own destiny. So what do you get when one of the most feared men in boxing trades his gloves for green? You get a reinvention that no one saw coming. A fighter turned farmer, a bruiser turned businessman, and a man who turned pain into purpose. Mike Tyson's reinvention isn't just a story about money or marijuana. It's about redemption, the rare kind that grows out of chaos and blossoms into clarity. Because for Mike Tyson, the biggest knockout of his life was peace.